I saw a clip from an unimaginably stupid interview that took place. I think it was this morning. Uh, Jake Tapper interviewed the Surgeon General for the state of Florida, Lapato or Ladapo or something. I don't remember which syllable comes first, but because he announced earlier this week to great fanfare and a roaring crowd in the room where he was speaking that he is going to do away with all vaccine mandates in the state of Florida, every single one of them. And when he was giving that speech, that presentation, he talked about parents' rights, and he talked about God, and our bodies are gifts from God. And ironically, Florida, with its 6-week abortion ban, he was talking about the government not having any right to impose its will on its citizens and order them what to do or what not to do with their bodies. And like watching that guy when he gave his speech, I was just like, this dude's like unhinged. It was challenging for me to understand that he actually had a medical and science educational background, because he seemed to care more about the Bible than he did about science and medicine, or children, when it comes to vaccines. But Jake Tapper was interviewing him, and he asked him, he was like, did you guys do any kind of research or projections based on data, based on science? What the outcome of this would be if people in Florida just stopped getting vaccinated, or what the impact on schools would be if children stopped getting vaccinated. And he said no. They didn't like game it out to see, to get some projections as to what would happen if they actually did this. They're just doing it. No thought, no process, no. I mean, they have the capability to put together that kind of a study, that kind of a projection, and within reason to know the answer of, what would the practical effect be on Floridians, on Florida's school children, if we just take away all vaccine mandates and a portion or a significant portion of the population just stops getting vaccinated for anything. And they have the ability to project like how many people would just stop getting vaccinated. And then they have the ability to, project outward and extrapolate what that would mean. And it would, because it's like that's going to be costs to the economy, costs for the healthcare system when people start catching these diseases again that have been eradicated. It's going to impact K through 12 public schools. And this guy was like, no, we didn't do any projections at all. And I think it was one of the first times that I saw Jake Tapper be like actually kind of speechless, with a look on his face like he couldn't believe that this guy was saying that out loud. But he wasn't putting it in terms of that was something that we should have done. He put his answer in terms of it's God's will, basically. If people start catching these diseases again, that's God's will. And our bodies are perfect vessels from God. And parents have the right to decide whether their kids get vaccinated over the state. And, but what I noticed was lacking from his speech when he first said this, and from his interview with Jake Tapper, is he didn't say shit about the rights of parents whose kids are vaccinated, their right to not send their kids to school with, other kids who are going to be coming in with measles and polio. But mean, guys like him, guys like RFK Jr., I think they're fast track implementing a plan, combined with Trump's Medicaid cuts and SNAP benefit cuts. If you are sick and or poor in the United States of America, they just want you to die. They just want you to die. And if you're disabled. If you're sick or poor or disabled or any or all of those three things, this administration, elected Republicans nationwide, they just want you to die. They view folks like that as unproductive burdens on society. And so they're just proactively implementing policies to speed up the deaths of people in the United States who are sick and or poor and or disabled. So, but thank God we have Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries fighting on the front lines for us. Cool. Have a great night.